Walang katapusang pag-aayos ng buhok namin ni Jen dito. Kita
Oo
niyo.
nga, sir eh.
Diba? Hanggat hindi kami umere, gaganto lang kami ng gaganyan. Kita mo. The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The main crater of the Taal volcano has started emitting steam again after a 16-day pause. The degassing comes as a flux of sulfur dioxide at Taal reached 3,800 tons per day as of August 9. Over the past 24 hours, a total of 107 volcanic earthquakes have been recorded. The Taal volcano is still under alert level 2. The Trade Department attributes last quarter's 11.8% GDP growth to the country's vaccination drive as well as other pandemic recovery programs. The government now turns its focus on providing more jobs for Filipinos amid the high unemployment rate. Jen Calimo now joins us live from Malabon to give us more details on this. Jen, good afternoon. With the ongoing ECQ, is the government still expecting the economy to reach pre-pandemic growth levels soon, or are there other projections for the year?
Yes, Charles, DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez, based on the data he presented this morning, it seems that we have exited from recession for our economy. Our economy showed 11% growth in GDP compared to negative percentage growth since last year. So for this second quarter, Charles, the manufacturing sector rose to 22.3% compared to 0.5% during the first quarter. For the service sector, it has 9.6% growth, which is a lot higher compared to the negative 4.4% in the first quarter. For the agriculture sector, though it is still in the negative growth side, it somehow improved from negative 1.2% in the first quarter to negative 0.1% in the second quarter. In terms of exports, the total exports in June 2021 reached to 6.51 billion US dollars. From January to June 2021, our export value earned has increased to 20.9% or 35.90 billion US dollars. Our inflation at the national level decelerated further to 4% in July 2021 from 4.1% in June 2021. And aside from this, our foreign direct investment net inflows reached 429 million US dollars in May 2021. So with this given data, Charles, the DTI is optimistic that we can expect an economic rebound in the second, third, and fourth quarter with positive GDP growth, which will allow us to recover faster in the post-pandemic era. The expected estimated economic growth for 2021 is at 6.7%, and for 2022, it's 7 to 9%. Charles?
Right. Jen, this is an improvement, but then I understand that despite this 11.8% economic jump, we have 3.7 million Filipinos who remain jobless as of June. That is a 7.7% unemployment rate. What are the government's plans to try to recover from this?
Yes, Charles, our unemployment rate for June 2021 remains at 7.7%, almost similar to the previous months. But this is already a big improvement, according to Secretary Lopez, compared to 17.7% unemployment rate last year. But we already have the National Employment Recovery Strategy, and one of their goals is to give 1 million jobs for this year. Our government also has 8-point employment recovery agenda. These are the approval of the proposed wage subsidy for private sector workers, conduct of job summits, support the passage of priority legislations and policies that would strengthen our economy and economic and employment recovery, promote retooling and upskilling of workers, extend assistance to establishments through loans, deferment of fees, provide social protection for vulnerable groups, and monitor and support the implementation of programs with high impact on employment. Charles?
Right, Jen, we are right in the middle of another lockdown, but should this ECQ be extended, what are the prospects of survival for medium and small businesses? Is the government expecting more job losses at this point?
Yes, Charles. First Secretary Lopez, some MSMEs might permanently stop operations once ACQ is extended. Last year, many MSMEs have closed. Some have recovered when MECQ and GCQ were implemented. But with another implementation of ECQ, some MSMEs are telling the DTI that they cannot afford to operate anymore and they might shut down once ECQ is extended again. Lopez said they have given loans to MSMEs, but they have exceeded the 5 billion budget for that. And so they are seeking the help of other departments to help the affected industries.
Jen, that being said, could you tell us more about some of the priority measures that are being implemented or at the very least being planned to ensure that the country reaches its growth targets moving forward?
Charles, some of the enablers of our recovery are the timely implementation of an intensified vaccination program and also the implementation of the recovery programs like Bayanihan 1 and 2, CREATE Act, and the passage of key reforms such as the Public Service Act, Retail Trade Liberalization, Foreign Investment Act, Revised Consumer Act of the Philippines, Amendment to the Price Act, Pandemic Protection Act, and the policy on local preference on government procurement. So if lawmakers will prioritize this legislation and policies, then our economy would recover even further and faster, according to Secretary Lopez.
Right, Jen, you mentioned the Foreign Investments Act as one of the legislative priorities. Under this plan, what are the industries that have the potential to bring in more foreign investments in the country?
The industries that have the most potential for foreign investments, according to Secretary Lopez, are automotive, aerospace, electronics, IT, BPM, and the copper and nickel industry. The government now is also working on artificial intelligence and smart manufacturing and digitalization, which will incorporate technological innovations to transform production and drive innovation. The DTI is also developing data scientists, which could help increase our industry's productivity through information and data analytics. Charles?
All right, Jen, let's shift back to the COVID-19 situation here in the country. The health department is expecting demand for oxygen tanks to double once the cases rise some more due to the Delta variant. How is the DTI planning to address this?
Well, Charles, according to Secretary Lopez, at present, we don't have problems in terms of oxygen supply. Close to 20,000 cylinder tanks have been procured by the government from abroad. But earlier this year, they told the manufacturers to expand and bring more tanks in preparation for the worst case scenario. And so far, Charles, manufacturers are heeding to that. And the government has given its word of giving an incentive to these manufacturers like tax holiday, given that oxygen tanks are considered essential goods. Charles?
Thanks for those updates, Jen. That was Jen Kalimon reporting live from Malabon. Experts warned that the economic growth seen in the second quarter may just be temporary. And they said the ongoing lockdown may drag the country's GDP way below target figures. One News' business editor, Regina Lay, has the details.
The good news is we're officially out of recession. The bad news is this may be temporary. Second quarter GDP this year came in at 11.8%. That's a tad higher than average estimates. That also ended 15 straight months of negative readings. But that big jump is largely due to what economists call low base effects. Because the contraction last year was so deep, with GDP shrinking by a record 17%, it exaggerated the positive reading this year. But NEDA Secretary Carl Chua insists that the growth isn't all artificial.
It is the result of a better balance between addressing COVID-19 and the need to restore jobs and incomes of the people.
Now, the big question is whether this new round of enhanced community quarantine, or ECQ, from August 6 to 20 will throw us back into negative territory. Economists say although less strict than last year's curbs, it isn't likely that we'll be graduating to a looser quarantine classification anytime soon.
Just taking a page of what happened in the rest of our ASEAN neighbors, Indonesia is currently in the 5th week of its lockdown. So the Delta variant wave could last quite long, and this might force us to stay in ECQ a little longer.
MAPA also pointed out that 5 straight quarters of negative readings have left deep scars on the economy that have yet to heal.
You're seeing unemployment still quite elevated at 7.7%. despite sort of looser restrictions. So there is some pain that the economy is feeling, with or without the lockdown. The economy is just not moving the way it used to be prior to COVID-19.
One sliver of hope has come from the ramp up in vaccinations over the past weeks, with some local government units rolling out 24/7 vaccination sites.
If we can bring the vaccination, especially to the elderly, to 30% before the end of the year, there's a big chance that the death rates in the Philippines will drop.
Still, ratings agency Moody's says it doesn't expect the Philippines to reach herd immunity until 2023. Regina Lay, One News.
In other news, the city government of Manila kicks off its aid distribution today. Pat Mangune now joins us live from Binondo to give us the latest on this. Pat, good afternoon. How is the situation there so far?
Charles, it's all systems go for the cash distribution here in the city of Manila, led by the Manila Department of Social Welfare. One of the 85 payout sites in the city is Jose Abad Santos High School in Binondo. 4,000 pesos is given to each family beneficiary. Each qualified household are given a set schedule by their respective barangays, and residents are required to follow their designated time slots for claiming. All they need to do is present a valid ID or a barangay certificate to verify their names on the list. DILG and DSWD officials dropped by here early this morning to monitor if disbursement of funds are organized. DILG USEC Jonathan Malaya said they won't just be inspecting Manila's ayuda distribution, but all other cities in Metro Manila as well. More than 380,000 Manileños are expected to benefit from this latest dole-out. Charles, the Manila LGU targets to finish the distribution in 2 weeks with a total budget of 1.48 billion pesos. And the DILG says that the shortfall of about 35 million pesos will still be downloaded to the LGU in time. But just in case there will be any delay, the local government says they are still ready to cover the cost. Charles?
Thank you, Pat Mangune, reporting live from Binondo in Manila. Lionel Messi has signed with Paris Saint-Germain after leaving Barcelona. The Argentinian star signed a 2-year contract with PSG with the option of extending for a further year. With this contract, Messi is expected to earn between 30 to 35 million euros per year. He will be wearing jersey number 30, which is also his first number at Barca. Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The IATF suspends its protocols on shortened quarantine periods for fully vaccinated close contacts of COVID-19 patients. Because of this, all close contacts of probable and confirmed COVID-19 cases are now required to undergo a mandatory quarantine of 14 days. 11 areas in Cebu are now under modified enhanced community quarantine due to a surge in COVID-19 infections. And Errol Spence Jr. withdraws from his fight against People's Champ Manny Pacquiao due to an eye injury. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.